What is up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we are going to be talking about probably the most important topic in poker: how to play versus fish. This is where 80 to 90% of your win rate comes from. We're going to be talking about 4 core Fish MDA principles. Okay? Now, I have a couple hand histories and a bunch of MDA data to back up what I'm saying, so let's get into it. So, in this hand, we have Queen 10 of spades on the button. We raise pre-flop and a fish in the small blind calls. We have our top pair that we flopped. We use our fish strategy, which is to range small, and he check raises us. Now, we know we have to defend with top pair, okay? So we continue and call the flop. Now on the turn, he barrels. He bets pot on the turn. We picked up a gut shot and we have top pair. We still have to call. Now on the river, he bets pot again. Okay, we have to look at MDA for check, raise, bet, bet line for fish. So we go to check, raise, bet, bet for fish. If you don't know, red is underbluffed, blue is GTO-ish, light green is bluffed without low pair, and dark green is bluffed with low pair. We see at bet 100 is it's over bluffed, but it's bluffed with low pair. So he's merged in this spot. Okay. So this takes us to our first MDA principle. Let's say I have a hand like ace-jack of diamonds. Let's say I decided to call flop with my backdoor hand and my overcard and my backdoor straight draw. Let's say I pick up a open-ender and a flush draw on the turn. Let's say I miss on the river. Now, if I get to the river and he bets, I should never bluff this hand if I have ace-jack of diamonds. Why? Fish MDA principle. You never bluff into a merged range, because we see from MDA that they over-defend, meaning they fold less than alpha, less than minimum defense frequency. Okay? So what you do here is you call with all your bluff catchers, but you do not rebluff with your air. You just fold your air. Okay? I'm going to show you some MDA for a spot. Okay? So let's imagine we were in the cutoff in this hand. Okay? With my, let's say I have this hand. Okay? So I'm in the cutoff. Let's say the button is on the button. The button is the fish, rather. So I raise pre-flop. The button, who is a fish, calls. Now, let's say he bets every street. Let's say I check flop, he bets, I call. Turn, same thing. I check, he bets, I call. River, I'm on the river, okay? So this is the field as the single raise pot in position. Hijack button versus out of position. Bet 70, bet 70, bet. What do we notice? We notice it is over bluffed. Okay? But look at folding frequencies. Folding frequencies are only 38%. What should they be? Well, if you do the math, I'm going to go over this in a second. If you do the math, they should be 59% at 100 BB stacks. They're 38%. Excuse me. That means that even though they over bluff, they also overcall. Why? Because they are betting with a merge range. So we go back to the first MDA principle. Let's take a peek at these principles, by the way. There's 4 of them. You never bluff into a merge range because folding frequencies are lower than MDF. Okay, so you would never bluff even though we know it's overfolded. This is a Fish MDA principle. The second Fish MDA principle, this is relevant for 3-bet pots mostly, is you never call ace high against a fish when you're bluff catching versus a merge range. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you're facing a triple barrel and you have ace king or ace queen. You have ace high and your hand is 0 EV. Okay? You never call because they are merged when they bet. This means they're going to be betting low pocket pairs, 4th pair, 5th pair. So you're going to get value owned when you call with ace high against fish. Okay, so you never call ace high against fish when bluff catching versus a merge range. That's the second MDA principle. The only time you get to bluff fish when they are the aggressor is when they bluff with too much air. We have to go back, okay? So, in this spot, if he had bet 50, I get to bluff because, look, the range composition is air. And what do we know about MDA principles? If they're over bluffing with air, then by definition they're over folding. But if they're bluffing with low pair, they are over calling. There's a huge difference between these two sizings. Okay, so you bluff versus the light green. You do not bluff versus the dark green. Fish MDA principle. Okay, the most important MDA principle is the last one. You always donk your value into a fish when you are the out of position preflop caller. Why? Because they overraise and underfold. This is true for all pot types. Let's take a peek at some data. Okay? This is single raise pot data versus a donk button versus big blind in position PFR. Look at fish. Fold versus donking. They only fold 17%. GTO is 19 to 23. How often do they raise? They're over raising. So in 2 data points, they are underfolding and over raising. We are incentivized to donk with value. This is single raise pot. Let's go to 3-bet pot. So in the 3-bet pot, this is 4-bet pot. I have 4-bet pot too. In the 3-bet pot, I have to do it like this because that's how it works. Okay, so in this spot, do it like this. Okay, so in this spot, we see, what do we see? This is the field as 3-bet pot in position pre-flop raiser, cutoff versus button, okay? What do you notice? Fold versus donk, 20 to 26% is GTO. Fish are 9 and 9.2%. Raise versus donk, 37%. GTO 27 to 33. So again, in 3-bet pots on 2 data points, you are incentivized to donk value. They underfold and overraise. Okay, let's go to 4-bet pots. 4-bet pots. See 4-bet pots. Field as 4-bet pot in position pre-flop raiser overall. Fold versus donk. 13 to 19%. They fold 9.3. Raise versus donk, 15 to 21, 48. So again, in 2 data points, you are incentivized to donk value. Now, do not donk second and third pair because you will get raised too often. Okay? So you just want to donk your strong value that can withstand pressure over 3 streets. All right, guys, so let's go over this one more time. These are 4 Fish MDA principles. Number 1, you never bluff into a merge range because folding frequencies are lower than MDF. They overdefend, okay? So that's the dark green versus the light green. You never call ace high against fish when bluff catching versus a merge range. This is relevant in 3-bet pots mostly. An example is, excuse me, when they triple barrel merge. So you do not call with ace high because you will get value owned. Number 3, the only time to bluff a fish is when they are the aggressor is when they bluff with too much air. That is the light green versus the dark green. If they have light green, you can bluff. If it's dark green, that means they're merged, and you should not try to rebluff them. And finally, you always donk your strong value into a fish because they overraise and underfold. This is true for all pot types, as we just saw. Single raise pot types, 3-bet pots, and 4-bet pots. All right, guys. I know this was a lot to take in, but it's very important to understand how to play versus fish because 80 to 90% of your win rate comes from fish. So please rewatch this if you need to. If you like this content, please give me a subscribe and a like, and I will see you in the next video, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single day. Take care.